What's up, Philadelphia sports fans? I am Anthony Pinto,
I'm Keith Malashevsky.
and we have a
And I'm
special guest today. Oh, sorry, you were doing it. You were ready for it. I screwed it up.
I started off. I'm already off on a rough foot.
You're like the
No,
Flyers
you
fan
were
of that
ready
third
for it.
period.
I should have known that you've been here before. And you were ready for it. But go ahead, introduce yourself.
I'm Kevin Christian.
Yes, what up, Kev? Our special guest today. Yeah, it's been like you were saying right before. It's been a little while since we had you on, but it's good to see you. I'm loving the Flyer spirit you got rocking on the stream. So I just realized I still have the Phillies on in the background. As always, chat most prepared streamer on Twitch. Um, but yeah,
Sure there actually are less prepared streamers than you.
the Phillies are on right now. So it's always nice to. It's a rare occasion, but today, guys, we get to experience the moons and everything that we're in line. That we got to experience a Flyers overtime victory, rolling right on in to an Aaron Nola start. I mean, how great is that?
I mean, last time we had an Aaron Nola start that didn't really do much for us.
But as far as Phillies fans go, it's him and Wheeler are really the only two pitchers you get excited to see, right?
I think that might be usually what you do is get that negative. I don't know why I started off that way. But
What up, Jamie? Jay Ziggy in chat throwing off those dope logos. I love it. I love it. Getting that good energy in. So yeah. Is Joe in? If anything, my Streamlabs might have popped up late. So if anybody said anything before the Jamie's
everybody
tweet.
just poured in unless my thing just lagged.
I like
but
it. Yeah. Yeah. We got a lot to talk about today. It's gonna be very Flyers heavy. But we would be remiss if we didn't bring up Phillies made a trade. We would be remiss if we didn't talk about, oh, by the way, a coach that has been here for 7 years and Brett Brown has been fired. So there's a
Is that
lot
the
to
point
get
behind
into.
your shirt?
What's that?
Is that possibly the point behind your shirt?
Oh, did you pick up on my subtext? Did you pick up on my subtext? Damn. Yeah, potentially a candidate is Villanova's Jay Wright, and we'll get into all of that. Yeah. We got a lot, but I want to start off with, and while they're on too, let's talk Phillies, because I think we can get them out of the way fastest. We'll talk Phillies. What do you guys make of this most recent trade? We traded Connor Siebold and Jake Pavetta, and Nick Pavetta to the Red Sox. You get Workman and Harembe back. Hembre, I don't know why I mispronounced his name. And Hembre back in the deal. What do you guys make? I'll start off with Kevin since he's the guest. It's always nice to let your guests go first, right, Keith?
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it. I think for me, it's in a 60-game season. It was still feels like too little, too late. It's you had to do something before the season started to address the bullpen, and as always, Matt Klentak chose not to. And I don't care what else you do. I don't care if you go out and sign the biggest names, like, I don't know, JT, for instance. If you don't fix the bullpen, it doesn't matter what else you do. And he waited until you're 25 games into the season, and you're already behind everybody else in what is the worst league I've ever seen in the NL right now. So you would be able to be competitive, and you still can't because you don't have a single arm in that bullpen that you can trust for more than an out.
Keith, you wanna add on to any of that?
I think it's pretty sad that Neil Walker was probably one of your best bullpen arms at one point. He's a utility infielder. It's a lot to give up, like a real prospect at this point, given what Kevin was saying. It's deep into a season in which you're in a terrible division and you still can't do anything because it doesn't matter how many runs you score. Because, by the way, I don't know if anybody's paying attention. The Phillies' offense is I think it's like a top 5 offense. Like, they're really like actually hitting the ball a lot, despite some of the things that happened. We've had some people turn it around as of late. We've seen McCutchen and Hoskins turn it on a little bit more at this point and hit the ball. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that JT is, I think he might even be the home run leader in the NL, possibly in the top for the whole league. It doesn't matter that, Bryce Harper is hitting, mid 300s. It just doesn't matter because you bring in somebody and then they blow up. And yes, you got a body from the New York Yankees, the name escapes me right now, that you picked up off of a DFA, and you traded for Workman, who's a free agent at the end of the year. I don't. It doesn't excite me, and I know that's awful, but you still have so many bad pitchers in that bullpen that I just can't get excited for this team because I just don't have any faith in them.
Yeah, and not to, I pretty much agree with both of you guys, so I don't want to overlap, but just to kind of put my own spin. Look, so I'm going to try to play this down the middle. As hard as it is to give Clintack any props, it's going to be really hard to get anyone, especially bullpen arms right now. So to the fact that he could find two, credible arms is, I tip my cap to him. The fact that you got rid of Nick Pivetta, I tip my cap to you. Connor Siebold, that one's a tough pill to swallow because, you need to start bringing up bullpen arms and pitchers via youth. And these guys are both rentals. And to get rid of Connor Siebold, who is a highly touted prospect, it's a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow, for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot for a limited return, and that's what upsets me at this point.
Yeah.
I want Clintack gone as much as you want Brand gone.
I want Clintack gone as much as you want Clintack gone now. Like, you know what I mean? Like
I was beating that drum last year.
I'm now beating it with you, giggity. So, and Joe, I see you in chat. Can the Flyers please play 60? We got a lot of Flyers talk to get into. That's why we're going to get all this other crap out of the way, and then the rest of the show is going to be smooth sailing.
See, and I agree with you when it comes to the limited options you're going to have to make trades in this season like this, and being able to find two arms. I'm all for that. But my problem ends up being you are this desperate. You had to give up a guy that is as highly touted as Siebold is because you didn't do anything prior to the season.
Yep.
And that's my problem with Clintack is the big moves, the flashy moves. Sure, you got it. You brought Bryce, you brought JT. I liked both moves, and I still do. But at some point, you have to realize that this is more than just a three-person league. You're not winning anything with three guys. You're not winning with a number one starting pitcher, an outfielder, and a catcher. You gotta field a whole team, and he's never been able to see big picture.
Yeah, Matt Clintack runs this team the way I had my work ethic in college. Like, I got all the main things done. Although he hasn't signed JT, I wouldn't let something like that go. But when it comes to like the homework and the nitty gritty and the unsexy things, the things that make really good students and really good GMs what they are, he's failing to do that. So yeah, it's like I'm gonna try to give him as much credit as I could, and that was about it. That was all two hat tips, so yeah. What are your, just because it's we're probably the only time we're gonna be able to have you on as far as this compressed baseball season goes. Not real quick. Just give us your thoughts on the rest of this Phillies team. What do you think of Joe Girardi so far? And are they a playoff team going forward? And 16 teams making it this year.
I'll tell you what. This year was the first time that, and I've seen people say this over the years, and unless you have an elite level manager, I'm not sure what they do, because every year seems to have the Phillies have the same problems. Like, why is Rhys Hoskins still batting 2?
Preach.
Like,
Shimonanaya.
are you like? Is it just if you're not La Russa for the Cardinals, or if you're not one of those big names, are you just babysitting? Like, is that what this job is? Because I don't see a difference between what Gabe brought for the last couple of years and what Girardi has brought. You're still pulling starters too early. You're still batting the wrong lineup. So for me, Joe Girardi, I don't really care who the manager is anymore. I don't see a difference in the day-to-day aspects enough for me to go, well, yeah, I'm so glad we got rid of Gabe. Now I'm more concerned with why we didn't get rid of Clentak last year, since obviously this wasn't the problem. As for the team, I know they're not a playoff team. I don't see any world where they pull this together with that pitching staff. And the problem is, as well as Wheeler is pitching, as well as Nola has pitched at times this year, unless those two are going to be lights out and the kid who just came up is going to be lights out, you need those guys to go almost 8 to prove anything. So I like what you're seeing out of the hitters. I love Bohm, whatever the hell it is.
Boom is hitting bombs.
Yeah, that's what gets me. Every time he hits a home run, they put both next to each other, and then I mess it up again. So I love that kid. So it's one of those things for me where I like the team on offense and in the field, but at the end of the day, this pitching staff makes it so that I don't believe they can get even close to where it'll be relatively interesting in this 60 game. I believe we'll be very, very bored of the Phillies in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, again, Keith, I'm gonna pat Keith on the back a little bit here. It looks like we just got a follow from somebody. I can't read the name because my stream elements. Hold on, we'll find it. I want to see who followed us. CG41 386. What up? Thank you for the follow. We appreciate that. But what I was gonna say is, Keith, I'm sure you're sitting over there kind of enjoying, because like last year you and I had I don't know if I'll call them arguments, but certainly disagreements
we had words.
with me being like, you can't blame the lineups on the front office. And right now it's like, well, is either Joe Girardi, has he lost touch, or is it still the front office?
I think his hands are tied. I think he doesn't have anything that now he's got Bohm in it. Bohm definitely made an improvement.
It almost felt like he was doing things despite the front office, and we'll see. But I'm glad that Kev touched on it too. The Rhys Hoskins in the 2-hole. Like, I don't know, Keith, what do you do? Does that bother you as much as it does Kev and I?
Oh yeah, it still bothers me. I think it bothers me less now that he's hitting a little bit more. I wouldn't mind it if Hoskins can get back to where we saw him at one point. It won't bother me because he'll be producing, and at that point, your 2, 3, 4 guys are going to be deadly. And if McCutchen recaptures what he had, even in the slightest bit, 1 through 4 is fantastic. I mean, it would be more ideal to maybe be 3, 4, 5. Yes. But 2, 3, 4 is like the new school baseball, like 3, 4, 5, it seems.
Yeah, then so I was like, I don't know if it's me. Like, am I just fighting the wrong fight? And that's why I went to you as the voice of reason, because it's like the Rhys Hoskins in the 2-hole. Just it's still, especially when I see the possibilities for, like, right now, my lineup with how this team's been playing. Like, tomorrow's lineup for me would be Didi, Segura, then maybe you start the Rhys, Harper, Real Muto. I would rather, I would want Harper 3. I would keep him 3rd, just to get him, up in every first inning. But, that to me is like, am I old? Is this, but yeah.
For me, I want Hoskins because at his best, he is a 4. At his very best, the best, if Hoskins is playing at his best, he is a 4. Yeah. He is a cleanup hitter in the best lineup, and I want him sandwiched between the 2 best hitters on the team, because it's the same thing we talked about with Howard later in his career. No one had to pitch to Howard, so he started swinging at shit that was nowhere near the strike zone because he just wanted to swing the bat. Mm-hmm. That's not Hoskins' problem, but at least it forces pitchers to pitch to Hoskins because you don't want to give an easy at-bat to the guy behind him when it's JT. Mm-hmm. So I get the 2, and I get it to a point of he struggled to hit the ball He gets on base, though. He walks all the time. So it gives Harper and Realmuto someone to drive in. I get that part of it. But at his very best, he's better in the 4-hole. And Didi and Segura have got on just as consistently. So I would rather see the two of them at the top of the lineup myself as well.
And I'm not against that. I'm not against that.
And the righty thing doesn't really matter this year, because anybody that comes in from the bullpen, if you bring in a lefty for Bryce Harper, well then guess what? Now that lefty's got to pitch to JT and to Reese, or to Reese and JT. So it's like, you don't have to worry about that this year. Utilize it. It should be Bryce, Reese, JT, or flip flop in whatever order. But to me, that's 3, 4, 5. And again, it's like I need maybe like the new school wave, or so far I haven't heard any fans really disagree with this. And it's just like, are we as fans losing touch with baseball, or is baseball losing touch with baseball? We shall see. Stay tuned. But Phillies will be in it all year because the whole league makes it. Joe, you're not wrong there. Like, where they're gonna be in the race, especially because the NL East has been a little poopy poop this year, at least to start. But yeah, that's I looked it up before. That was Ken Rosenthal's quote. So, but the to the eye test right now, they just, again, playing a little better as of late. Won a couple games. What's it, 2 or 3 now? Feels like a million. But right now, I think I still agree with Kev, which is like, my eyes don't see a playoff team, which is unfortunate. Keith's shaking his head. Yeah, it looks like
it hurts. It hurts.
You
had high hopes at the beginning of the year.
And you know who else was barely a playoff team, Keith and Kev? Our Philadelphia 76ers. As I'm going to try to use that as a pointless segue. If you have any other Phillies notes or anything in chat, feel free. We will get to them. And if not, we will definitely bring them up in the final thoughts 2-minute warning. Didn't even see them at 500. Yeah, again, it's gonna be a bumpy ride this year. But the thing about it, and the silver lining is, and what's gonna at least make them interesting and something to watch, is your 2 best players are being your 2 best players in JT and Bryce. And man, if that doesn't make you turn on the TV every night and at least watch them in the background, I don't know why else. What else you can ask for, at least like right now. But yeah, just want to kind of transition into a little bit of Sixers talk, and then it's all Flyers, baby. But hey, it happened. At least part of it happened. It's been 7 seasons, but Brett Brown is no longer the Sixers head coach. And I gotta be honest with you, saying that right there kind of hit me in the feels a little bit. Because look, for all the ups and downs, and mostly downs, that we have with Brett Brown, I mean, could you have asked for a better human being? Forget coach. We can just forget that. To deal with what he dealt with, and to do it in Philadelphia. And I don't know about you guys. Can you give me one example of Brett Brown losing his temper with the Philadelphia media?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, so again, it was the right move. I'm not here to defend it, and I was calling for it for most of this season. Keith, you and I had arguments over it, the whole 9. Like we were not necessarily arguments, but like Keith, you would be like, no, he's coming back next year, and that would make my blood pressure skyrocket.
I said there was a way he could.
Yeah, again, you weren't saying you wanted it, but you were and the only reason why my blood pressure was skyrocketing was because you were making good points that I could believe Elton Brand would do. Which is then why I said, well, then they both need to go. And I'm still on that train, although I'm going to I'm much cooler now. I know that Elton Brand isn't getting fired. I will still use it in all my hashtags until he reconstructs this team. But Elton Brand has low key thrown Brett under the bus by using the terminology of, the collaborative approach thing. He's kind of trying, and again, we don't know whether he's right or wrong, but he's saying like, "Oh, Horford, that's on Brett," and
Yeah, I don't know about that.
again, he's the collaborative approach, and we need to get basketball guys in here. To which my immediate reaction is, aren't you the basketball guy, Mr. First Round, overall draft pick? Excuse me? Yeah. I just, it's still a little unsettling. And in fact, like, the more I'm like, oh, I'm not going to get mad about it today. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, oh, I'm getting mad about it. Because, in my opinion, and correct me if I'm wrong either of you guys, Elton Brand is just as much to blame for this season specifically as Brett Brown.
I'd say he's more to blame.
Yeah, you know what? That's probably a good point. Keith?
I think you have to figure out a way to keep Jimmy here, and then you don't have this season.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
And go ahead, Kev.
No, I guess my thing with it is, I think it's more than that. But if that's what your thought process is, then it is on Brett, because Jimmy left because of they were never getting Jimmy to come back because of Brett. That Jimmy's made that so clear in the months since he's left that was the ultimate reason he was not coming back here. So if I think it's so much more than just that move. I think it was a bad move. I thought you made a bad trade, but your hands are kind of tied as far as what you can get back from a guy who's clearly stated, if you sign me, you better trade me because I'm not playing for you. So I get it to a point, but the Horford move is atrocious. To still not have a shooter standing next to two guys who can't shoot the ball, who are your best players, mind-boggling to me. And you let your only shooter you've had in the last 10 years walk for free, other than the kid you traded for Tobias. So that's a whole other problem. But I think it's the whole team that he built is a joke. Because at the end of the day, you have a all-star power forward, point guard hybrid thing, and a center. And then you went out this offseason and got a power forward and a center. Good job. Seems like that wasn't the way to go about making this team, but what do I know?
No, I agree. Like that's my issue with Brand is that, listen, I understand you go, okay, well, we don't have Jimmy, we need to add something else, and then you couldn't add anything else, so you went, you know what, we'll add Horford, and even though it's not a great fit, we're taking something away from Celtics. Well, dude, I don't even care about that. Like, seriously, like, you could have added nobody this offseason and been in better shape this year than you were last year, because you wouldn't be stuck with Horford's contract. And that's what it's going to be. You're going to have to get creative to be able to dump that contract because it's terrible. And he doesn't fit on this team, and it's clear. And if you knew anything about Brown's playing style, this is why I don't see it as Brown going, yeah, I want to sign Horford. He's a 3-and-D coach. Like, that's what he is. So he's not going to be like, yeah, bully ball, I'm into this. That seemed like Elton Brand going, yo, this is the guy that I want to sign. You're going to work with him.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, was that we were always told one thing, but then, all but the first game of the season, we saw a team that still put up the NBA, the same, the average amount of threes as the rest of the NBA, and, this team played a very vanilla or stale offense. Sound defense, but very stale offense. Very much, let's let my dynamic point guard do something and make a play, or my get the ball to my dynamic center and let him do something and make a play. And there was never, like, if you guys watch Dallas, or if you watch, like, any of these teams with a big right now, you see, Porzingis, he'll set a pick up at the top, and then he will bolt down to the bottom and get to the post. And that's something that Embiid, you never see Embiid set a pick. And Embiid can do it in two ways too, because Embiid can set the pick and dart down to the post like he should 3 out of 4 times, but on that fourth time, just to make it unpredictable, he can dart up and hit a 3, and that's something that Joel Embiid can do that, little to no other center in the NBA can do, and I don't want to take that away from Embiid. I want to coach. Like, why can a fat 31-year-old that plays NBA 2K figure this out, but Brett Brown couldn't? Tobias Harris, his biggest thing, if you watch when he was succeeding in LA, pick and rolls. We don't see that. It was just you just didn't really see this team coached correctly, and then construction was just. When Al Horford was signed here, I was asking everybody, can you please explain to me why this makes sense? Why is nobody mad about this? I was asking. I was like, am I taking crazy pills? Because why are you taking an aging center and making him go to the power forward, which is a more athletic position? Someone explained. Charles Barkley loved it. All these NBA guys said it was going to work, so I was like, I guess I'm the crazy one. Again, I always default to basketball being my sort of weaker sport. So I was like, let's go. NBA Finals. That's what they're saying. I'm excited. We didn't really see any of that. And sorry for the little mini rant there as things started getting rolling tonight.
All right.
But yeah,
I think you're being a little unfair, Anthony. I think you're chubby, not fat.
Yeah, all right. Hey, the push-ups are helping. The push-ups are helping. I might even start softball soon, so it's we're working on it. We're working. But yeah, and I see your comment in chat, Joe. Butler has his team in the second round. Where are the Sixers? Yeah, I mean, look, that's again, you're never gonna get me off. And to the point, if Jimmy Butler said I'm not staying here because of Brett Brown, if I'm a GM, no problem, Jimmy. Stay right there. Hey, Brett, you're fired. Like, it would have been no problem. That's it. Goodbye.
Easier to find a new coach than it is to find the talent.
You can't. Look, Jimmy Butler has intangibles because you got kind of just the same player in Josh Richardson as you did in Jimmy Butler. But what does Jimmy Butler have? Intangibles. And to Richardson's credit, too, he was a very sound leader. I don't want to take a jab at him, but you're not Jimmy Butler. Like, you're just not. It's the difference.
I think their problem was that they extended Brown mid-year last year, so they felt like they had handcuffed themselves, and they didn't want to admit that they were bad evaluators at the coach position. Because that's basically what you have to say when you go, hey, I know we extended him, but we're going to fire him now so we can keep Jimmy Butler. That was a bad evaluation on our part. And I don't think Elton Brand was prepared to do that. I think his pride got in the way, and that's why we ended up sticking with Brown, and that ultimately is what led to the situation.
Yeah. I almost quoted Pulp Fiction for a second, and then I realized that would have been another impromptu F-bomb. You feel that? That's pride with you. But yeah. Yeah, you're right. And just to kind of move things, a little forward too, and just moving on, like there's a lot of head coaching candidates out there now. What do you guys think? Jay Wright? I got the shirt for you guys tonight. No, but serious question. What do you? It's a fan topic right now. What do you guys think of Jay Wright coming in?
I don't think there's a shot. I don't think there's any meeting you could have with Jay Wright that convinces him to give up his unbelievably cushy job at this point to deal with this mess. I just don't see it. I think he enjoys being the best or one of the best in the game at what he does. I don't see any way you're convincing him that coming here and revitalizing the pro team is going to be better off. I mean, my thing with this is you've seen his name out there. You've seen Ty Lue, and Lue's going to go try and win a championship in Brooklyn. So at the end of the day, you're going to end up taking the assistant coach here in Philly, Brown's guy, and just slot him in. And people are going to be pissed. That's how this ends. Just so you guys know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Keith,
I,
what do you think on the Jay Wright thing?
I think with Jay Wright, I'm kind of on Kevin's side here. I don't think it's likely. It's tough to pull the guy who has a great situation in college ranks, making a ton of money, coaching a team that he loves. It's a situation that he gets to control because he could have a bad, 3, 4, 5 years and still be okay because he brought them those 2 championships. It's a lot to give up. And yes, I understand that Simmons and Embiid are very attractive pieces to have. I understand that, it's not bad to have Tobias Harris and Josh Richardson as other pieces to have on the team. Matisse Thybulle is very nice. Like, I understand that. Unfortunately, I just don't think it's enough to attract somebody like Jay Wright. So, like Kev said, you're going to end up with an assistant coach either from our own team or somewhere else. I think
Ime
losing.
Eduko is the assistant coach you guys are talking about.
I think losing Monty last year was. I mean, that was you should have moved on for Brett and kept Monty and not let him move on to the Phoenix Suns. And I think you would have done the right thing. But that's and we saw him go and make improvements there this year for the Phoenix Suns. So I think you're going to end up with somebody who isn't going to have as much cachet as, say, a Ty Lue or somebody else. I mean, you might end up with Jason Kidd, and I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. A lot of people don't like Jason Kidd.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I see. I don't see us getting that what everybody wants, which is Jay Wright. I just don't see it. I don't think that if we did get Jay Wright, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I've heard people say, "Oh, he's not going to be able to control them. He's not going to have impact. He has no." No, I don't think that's the case.
Oh, I do. I think if he came here, it would be catastrophic. He would be worse than Brett Brown.
I'll hardcore disagree on that.
And I totally wore the shirt as a debate because I don't want any part of Jay Wright anywhere near this Philadelphia 76ers team. Do your thing. Continue winning national championships for the city of Philadelphia. I don't need you to coach the Sixers. This team would not respond to a college coach. You need someone to come in here and have clout. I've heard the Udoka things all year. If the Sixers were going to respond to anybody in the locker room, why wouldn't he? Why would he, being the head coach, mean any difference? But as far as the Jason Kidd thing could be good. Tyronn Lue, I don't really understand. Like, he wouldn't be my first choice. I really don't understand why people are so against Ty Lue. Like, he did win a championship, and might win another one as an assistant coach this year. Yeah, sure, he had LeBron, but it's still a ring. If he wins one here, you'd be like, yeah, well, he had Simmons and Embiid. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not against Lou. I think he goes to Brooklyn to go coach.
Yeah, yeah. At least, Kev, to your point, yeah, you weren't against it. I wasn't saying, but like, anytime I mention his name, like, throw it around in the water cooler, or like you see Facebook comments, man, people really don't want Lou. The way people feel about Lou, I feel about anybody that's already in this, like, in the locker room. Like, it's no disrespect to them. I'm not saying that Udoka's a bad coach, but you need change. You're already not changing Elton Brand, so you need change as far as this coaching staff goes. You're gonna have to get different. You might not be able to get different as far as the roster goes. So yeah, I mean you're gonna have to do something. So yeah, it's something that we'll continue to monitor throughout the season and as it goes. Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Nate McKinnon got fired today, and he'd be right up there. The Pacers coach. They got bounced in the first round as well. He would be right at the top of my list as far as bringing guys in. If you look at his resume, he's had success pretty much everywhere he's gone. Had a really good season with Portland when he was out there. So maybe you could say that he's never gotten the team over the hump, but It's another guy. Mark Jackson, another name that's like worthy of bringing up. Again, didn't get it done, but did some really good establishment as far as, out there in Golden State. And don't give me that Brett Brown's a player developmental coach, because he wasn't. He didn't develop any players on this roster. He didn't develop Embiid into a sound center. He didn't develop Ben Simmons in any semblance of a point guard. He didn't develop Horford into a power forward. So don't give me this. Just because he got something for Robert Covington and T.J. McConnell, like that, now he's a player developmental coach. Get the hell out of here. He's an average coach and he's a really good guy. And like I said, I wanted nothing more than for the Sixers to win with Brett Brown. But year after year, it was clear he's not the right fit. So, any other final thoughts on the Sixers? Because I really want to talk some Flyers hockey tonight, boys.
Yeah, just real quick, I really thought you said Nate McKinnon got fired, which for me was hockey mind, and I was like,
not Nathan McKinnon, my boy from Colorado.
I was like, wait,
we're down big time right now with a bunch of injuries.
I heard the same thing too.
I'm sorry. McMillan. I'm probably mispronouncing. McMillan is.
It's all right. Yeah. When you watch this back, you'll see my eyes pop out of my head.
I know they did, and I was like, "Wait, do you really like him?" I saw your reaction too. I was like, "Oh, do you really?"
I do like McMillan. I wouldn't be upset with that move either.
Yeah, let's bring him to the Flyers. Let's go. Let's go. Keith, any final Sixers thoughts?
No.
Yeah, it seems like maybe we can have a little Jay Wright argument another day, but no. No, I think we got it out. Not much to argue about. Because look, and now that I said it, if I could pick, now that Brett Brown's not here, if you're asking me, hey Anthony, the Sixers are going to win a title. Pick anyone, realistic to be the coach. I would love it to be Jay Wright. He's again just a great human being. He's already won twice for our city, and just solid consistency throughout the program at Villanova. And the fan in me would want nothing more than him to come, but like realistically, an analyst and just thinking about it, man, he would just not fit here in my opinion. But you know who is fitting here, guys? Elaine Vigneault and the Philadelphia Flyers. Hey, they did it today, 1-1. It was really pretty, then it was really ugly, and then it was a win. So we came out to a fiery start. Kevin Hayes going 2 for 2, batting 1,000, scores 2 goals right off the bat. What do you guys make of today's performance? And Kev, real quick, just because it's been so long, what do you make of this Flyers team in general as we ride in here, in the bubble hockey land and then in the playoffs?
You know what? For me, this is the most exciting team I've ever seen in person, is what I will say. So last 15, 20 years. They're fun, and they've been fun all season long, especially in the last, well, we had a break about 4 months long, but since January on, this has been a really fun team to watch. Allowing through the round robin like that was really not as shocking as I think for most people as it was for me. That's what they looked like before the break. I mean, they were beating teams that most people didn't give them any chance to. My biggest concern, and I went back and forth with my brother about this for days and weeks when they announced the format of this tournament, was I wanted Pittsburgh to win, and I wanted Florida to beat the Islanders. Those were the two teams that scared the ever-living daylights out of me. And, of course, that's the first two the Flyers get to play. And for two very different reasons I didn't want to play these teams. Montreal, I don't want to play Carey Price. Mm-hmm. And if anyone doesn't understand why, go back and watch that 6-game series. Mm-hmm. I love Hart, and I've been waiting for a goalie like Hart my entire life. I didn't think he was there yet. He has since proven me wrong. And with the Islanders, this is a really skilled team. Like, I know how bad Game 1 was, and I know how bad it is to blow a 3-goal lead today. But This wasn't the Flyers stopped playing. This wasn't the Flyers got, lazy or this and that. The other team is participating in the game, and the Islanders played their asses off, and they deserve a ton of credit for the way the second half of that game played. Did the Flyers sit back a little on their heels? Absolutely. Did they get beat up because of it? Absolutely. But the Flyers were getting outplayed in the first 3 minutes too, until Hayes took that rocket short side over Varlamov. So
it was a really scary beginning.
Oh,
and then it was a really good beginning.
And the thing is, and after that, it gets rolling, and that's how you beat this Islanders team: is you stay patient, you keep working, and you're gonna get goals. They dominated the second half of Game 1, from literally the whole second period, and until they gave up that unfortunate second goal, they dominated. It wasn't even remotely close. They just couldn't break through. So I mean, as always with Philadelphia fans, I think we get too high at times and we get too low at times. And I think in both games, this is what this series is going to be. It is going to be drag out, knock them down. As AV likes to say, it's going to be a greasy series. It is going to be tight.
Greasy. Sorry, for any of my Trailer Park Boys fans out there, they get the reference. Greasy.
I do think that's how this series is going to end up having to be, because you have two very good teams. At the end of the day, if the top lines play like they did today, the Flyers will win this series, because our top lines are just straight up better than theirs. And our goalie is 200 times better than theirs.
The both of theirs.
Yeah.
Now, I once had love from my man Semyon Varlamov, as I like watching West Coast hockey. I like watching the Avalanche. But if they could actually use him right now as their goalie went out. They've got injuries for days. But they do still have Nathan McKinnon, though. He was not fired. And with that, are they down 3-0?
No, tonight's game.
Okay, yeah, they could go. They're down 2-0, though, right? Okay.
Yeah.
That was my pick. It was Flyers Avalanche. That was my pick for the cup. And that was just more of like a pipe dream than anything. But not really a pipe dream. Just like realistically, that's like my childhood pipe dream is what I meant to say. But realistically, this year, I mean, both teams, especially going into it, we're looking hot. Unfortunately for the Avs, just decimated by injuries as of late. But forget about them. We're here to talk about the Flyers. They've been looking good. Keith, how you been feeling about this team? It's been a while since I had you on here too. So
it's work has been a little brutal.
Oh, no one's on you for it. I would just
not all of us can have cushy offices where they get out early. And
is that some postman on postman shade right there? Or?
I don't know what you're talking about. But no, it's this whole team has been super exciting to watch. It's just been a ride. Obviously, the Canadian series showed us that we are no longer the Flyers team of old. It showed. I mean, we saw that in the round robin games, obviously, but we used to be the team that would lose to a team like us, like the Flyers are now. Like we used to be the team in the playoffs that would lose to a team like the Flyers are constructed now. And we got away with that first round with secondary scoring and heart. Our top lines really didn't produce. So that's fantastic. And we lost that first game because our top lines didn't produce. I'm not saying that it's not like the other team didn't play or anything like that. And I agree with Kevin in the sense that the Canadians are really talented. And the Islanders are big and talented. They're a little bit of a different team. I still think we can beat them, and I feel like it's going to be a 6-game series at the end of the day. I'm still excited. I'm still optimistic. Yes, we blew a lead today. Yes, we did go to overtime, but we took that. We did score goals from our top 6 forwards, which is positive. And that's what I really took away from today's game, is that we got going on those top lines. And that's going to be key moving forward. You're going to need to keep seeing those contributions. You're going to need Travis Konechny to score some goals for you. You're going to need Giroux to do some things for you, and he did help with that overtime goal. I think that that's very important. I do have one question for both of you guys because I've seen it go both ways. I was listening to the radio while I was wrapping things up today, so I didn't really get to see the overtime winner. I only heard it. Was it offsides? Was it not offsides leading to that tying goal?
Kev, what do you think?
It's offsides.
Same. That's what I kind of thought too. Although I was shown a screenshot. You never know how credible these things are nowadays, though. Shown a screenshot, and that you still, your mind's eye could draw the picture and probably say that it was offside. But you can't. It was still not conclusive evidence to say that it was. So in my opinion, it was a bad challenge.
Yeah, because it said, like, on the radio, obviously, since it's a Flyers broadcast, they're going to be like, oh, it's totally offside.
Especially on the radio. Like, my boy Coatsy is very homer, which is not good for the radio. Yeah, love Coatsy, but he's not the best for radio.
I would say this, that whoever their video guy is, who has done a fantastic job all year, needs to be fired. Because that's not the head coach's call. It's not the assistant coach's call. This guy was in AV's ear and said, he's offsides, blow it.
Yeah, because, again...
millimeters. I mean, if he's offsides, and I would tell you that he is, it's millimeters. It's less than a quarter of a second how close this is. And if you're not 100% sure with 2 minutes left, that's going to cost you a 2-minute penalty on the end. You shut up and don't say anything in AV's ear. Yeah. So AV took the blame for it after the game was over. But you won, so it's a little bit easier to do that.
Yeah, I mean, imagine they score on that power play. And they came close.
The first 30 seconds of the power play, it was a tic-tac-toe play, and Hart made a huge save.
My heart is racing, like, quite literally reliving those moments in my head. Yeah. So yeah, that was and Joe in chat. Now, Joe, you see things through gritty colored lenses every now and then, but Joe says that was so offsides.
No, definitely not so offsides. It was close. It was very.
It was so close, if anything.
No way could you get it from a blind. First off, here's my biggest thing with this offsides review, and this is just a rant that I'm going to do really quickly.
Send it.
It had nothing to do with the rest of the play. It happened 50 seconds before the goal. It had nothing to do. If you want to challenge whether or not the defenseman kept it in right before the shot happens, I'm all for it. But there was a goal taken away from a playoff team less than a week ago, and the team had possession for over a minute and a half, and it didn't count. This needs to stop. If it is not a direct, they cross the blue line and take a shot, it can't be this way. And I'm so glad they've added instant replay because you get things like the Danny Briere being offsides by 9 strides. I get it. You fix those type of problems. But, you saw last year or 2 years ago, Matt Duchene was at the bench with his 1 foot over. They're like, nah, it's offsides. We reviewed it. No, he's not part of the play. This has no bearing on the situation. And you've now just gifted a team who got beat. I would not – listen, I would have taken it all the same. But him being offsides when they were entering the zone and then scoring a minute later had nothing to do with the play. It's a good goal. Go win the damn game.
Yeah.
Definitely don't force your team the game on a stupid challenge.
Yeah, now that you mention it too, it's like, damn, they even had like some time to look at that. I kind of forget about that in the midst of everything. But hey, like you said, they win, so you get out of it. Here's the one thing: I don't want to get on AV for the challenge, but and again, I don't know if get on him is one thing, but maybe I'll just pose it as a question instead of saying something. But have we potentially seen a weakness in Alain Vigneault's scheme in that, we're playing maybe a little too defensively and sitting back on leads? Would you say that they're not, like, we keep seeing, like Joe has mentioned it a couple times, play 60 minutes of hockey. We've seen it in chat on Facebook.com/WarRoomPhilly. Are they relying too much on just playing good defense at times?
I think my problem ends up being yes, is the quick answer to this. The long answer to this is I remember the day he was hired. The biggest quotes that I was seeing from Rangers and Canucks fans were, "Wait till he finds Tanner Glass." And for those of you who have no idea who that is, and if you don't seriously love hockey, you shouldn't know who he is. But he's found him. AV found him in Philadelphia, and it's Nate Thompson, who is not an NHL caliber player, has not been an NHL caliber player for 5 years, and is still on the ice in the biggest moments for this team because he plays defense, even though he's a forward. This guy is so bad and is killing this team. He's being outshot something like, he's got 4 positive shots forward. He's being outshot like 32-4. He gets hemmed in, and we're playing him against their best player. It's the equivalent of them putting out Cal Clutterbuck against Giroux, which, if you've noticed, Trotz doesn't do that because that would be asinine. So, for me, this was what my concern with him when he got hired was his obsession in the same way that Hackstall loved Chris Vandevelde, that you're going to run into, we need vet, we need grit, we need this. No, you don't. No. Why are we sitting good players? Why are we playing Robert Haig over Ghost? Robert Haig, who cannot make a pass from me to you when we're freaking in the same room. I don't understand the obsession with, well, he had 12 hits. Do you know how much he added to the game with those 12 hits? Nothing.
Yeah.
They spent an hour today talking about Ross Johnston, who is literally not in the league right now, except for the fact that he's big and sometimes fights people. Mostly people who don't want to fight him. This has left the game. It is long gone. This send out a Donald Brashear to go play with Briere. That doesn't happen anymore, and it shouldn't. You know where you get your big tough guys now? Tom Wilson, who can also pop 30 goals. Stop putting guys out there who had absolutely no value to your team. And we are obsessed with, well, we traded for Grant and we traded for Thompson, so they have to be in the lineup. That's great. Scott Lawton sitting on the bench, who has not had a good postseason. I will grant you that. But he's 100% had a better postseason than Thompson or Grant, and he's still hitting instead of that. And we've sat JVR now 6 times and won't put him on the power play. He's a power play specialist who, for some reason, we're putting Derek Grant on the power play instead of him.
I don't get that. That actually makes me angry.
Yeah, now see, I don't mind sitting JVR because, in my opinion, he hasn't played well enough. But if you are going to put him in the lineup, he should probably be on he should probably be not only on the power play, but he should be standing on or in the crease.
I'm with you. And my thing is, I don't think JVR's had an opportunity to do anything because he's not playing on the power play, which is where he scored most of his career goals. And when he's out on 5-on-5, he's out there with Nick Aube-Kubel, who I love, and Derek Grant, who have the combined skills of a hockey stick. Neither one of them adds anything to an offensive caliber player. You need to put a playmaker with him.
Well, it was all those years that we put Coots out there with, absolute garbage. Not absolute garbage. It's a little strong, but
Matt Reed.
Yeah. You were putting
absolute garbage.
Subpar players.
That was my guy, Matt Reed. Screw him.
But that was the same problem. So you're not going to get anything out of those. Your talented players. Obviously, now Coots is in your top 6. He's your top line center. Like that's what you're seeing. You put him with talent, you start to get results. You can't be putting him out there with absolute drecking. Expect him to go and live up to that contract. I'm with you. I'm frustrated. And I mean, if this is our biggest problem right now, I guess that's pretty good.
Listen, I'm with you. I've tried very hard not to say any bad words about AB because the strings he has pulled this year and his in-game maneuvering and I've been just fantastic.
Yeah,
so I'm not going to argue with what he's doing, but when you're leaving talented players off the go sitting right now when your power play is 4 for 40 is a joke.
Yeah.
I don't care how bad the guy is in his own zone. I get it. I understand why we've always had to watch him. We've always had to put him with superior defensive players. But your power play is a joke, and your biggest problem right now is everyone on earth knows that the play is going to end with Giroux shooting or making a pass down low because not a single person in the NHL is scared of Ivan Provorov's slap shot. And they shouldn't be because it hits the goalie in the chest 9 out of 10 times.
Hey, that's my boy. Don't you
I
dare.
love
No,
Pro
no,
Bro.
I know.
I'd put him in any situation except power play 1.
Yeah,
If-
yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
I mean, you put JVR and you put Ghost in the power play, and you end up with a much more improved situation, deadlier power play,
100%.
and you might actually fix something. And by the way, what's up, Beardy in chat, joining
Yeah.
us from Facebook Live over
Manitoba?
here.
Do I got it
Manitoba,
right?
you said it right.
I did it! Woo! Yeah,
We got 3 people now who can say it.
I got it. Yeah,
Oh.
as I butchered that. I believe Beardy, if you were on our Facebook stream the other week, thank you so much for joining us on Twitch. Once again, I don't know why I pronounced a Canadian town like it was somewhere in Ecuador, but it happens. You know, you got a lot of words on stream. Sometimes you can't read. And I also see Bryce. Does that mean we got a Bryce bomb, Joe? Where are we at on the Phillies game? Let me get an update from chat. Ghost is hurting them more than helping them from chat. Let me.
I disagree. 100% disagree.
And then we got also from Steve or from Rob. What's up, guys? I will say Ghost has been either great or been making blunders, not much in between, especially because almost every shot has been a broken stick.
I agree with that.
That's kind of his deal, though. You
Yeah,
know?
it is. But you know what? You get 0 greatness. You get 0 good from Robert Haig. You get greatness from Ghost, and you need a defensive partner who is going to cover that. And I get that, and I understand the fear of, well, what if he gets beat in his own zone, especially against a team like the others. I get all that, but you have no opportunity to. You're not getting any offense from Braun and Haig, who were on the ice for all 3 goals today. So it's a great time for this argument, but they had nothing to do with any of them. It's Ghost gives you that outlet pass. Ghost gives you that shot from the point. And I've never seen a man break a stick as often as he has in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, that dude's got. It needs to get a new endorsement deal.
Yeah, bro, whatever it is, because the last 3 times he wound all the way up, the stick snapped before he even hit the ice. So I'm 100% with that comment of it's been greatness or blunders, and that's fine. But we have good enough defensemen who can cover that he should not be out of the lineup for a guy who leads the team in hits and blocks shots because he can't get the puck out of his zone.
Yeah, and you know, I think really I think Ghost's biggest problem right now is that he and Justin Braun aren't a good fit together.
I agree.
You know, I almost think Ghost and Hag are better together than Braun, and that's kind of scary to think. But you know, do you potentially think about taking Braun out of the lineup then? You know, because
Yes.
it's not necessarily that he's played poorly, but that you could get more out of a different combination.
You know what I think the biggest problem ends up being with Ghost and Braun is Braun spends most of the time going, how do I cover for Ghost? Instead of playing his position. So that when Ghost doesn't make mistakes and he's able to play the position correctly, Braun is standing behind him to help him, but he doesn't need the help. And then the guy that Braun was supposed to cover was scoring.
Yeah.
Which then every Flyers fan blames Ghost. Because it's Ghost's fault. He sucks in his own zone and blah, blah, blah. I think Braun spends too much time worrying about him, whereas Haig knows, all right, well, he's going to get beat every so often, and I just got to make sure I'm in the right position.
I'll just check somebody.
Right. I'll run everybody over and grin while I do it.
Yeah. Yeah, again, it's not that I want to take anything away. Like, this isn't me trying to bash Justin Braun by any means, but you know, it's I just think a different pairing, and I also think that this team needs to just offensively start taking a little bit more chances. And even if it comes from the blue line, it's another layer that Ghost gives you. It's another layer that Scott Lawton gives you. It's, you know, it's maybe a layer that JVR gives you. I'm not sure I want to go to bat for him right now, though. But at least as far as the power play goes, you know, if you want to make the argument for JVR, again, personally, I don't mind him being out of the lineup. But if he is in the lineup, he should be on power play too, at least. So, yeah.
I don't know who this person is who's been the most recent comments, but hell yes to all 3 things. A hit on Suzuki was disgusting.
You've You've actually played football with him, I believe.
Yeah, Rob Vancy, Valspar in chat. I'm mispronouncing everything today. I do see him at least trying to make plays, so I can agree with that. He might need to switch partners again. That's what we're just talking about. Putting him. I was thinking during the I had the thought of putting him up with Sanheim, and then I'm like, wait. Then you move, Myers, who's had 2 big goals throughout the playoffs already.
Oh no, he's saying put Ghost and Sanheim together on the power play.
Oh no! Oh, okay.
100% what they should do because they have the best 2 shots from the point on the team.
Yeah, that makes sense. I got you. Again, I'm trying to read like three comments at one, and my Charlie Day kicks in, or Charlie Kelly kicks in. He'll adapt. Ghost played real well last game against the Canadians. Ghost had that huge hit against the Canadians, which is something I literally was like, what? Ghost did that? Like, I thought it was Hag. Like, he railed him. Would love that. Definitely. JVR has given the Flyers absolutely nothing. JVR looks slow out there.
JVR is slow.
I agree with that. But again, and that's why I'm not gonna sit here and argue that JVR needs to be in the lineup. But I will agree to Kevin's to your point that he needs to be out. If he's in, like, if you're putting him in, it's almost like okay, he does one thing well. It's the power play. Let's get him. It's like almost like at that level, it's Brett Brown level of incompetence. But I can't say that about my man AV. Not yet.
No, we gotta give it a couple years till we start right.
But yeah, it's definitely with this team. We're gonna have to. I think now that's you're transitioning in. Look, you just played the Canadians, and you're getting a very similar style in the Islanders. But like you guys have already both said, they're better in every way other than Carey Price. So take advantage of that. Be Philip Myers. Throw pucks on net. Throw knuckleballs at net if you can. He put that thing up. What was the move from the Mighty Ducks? What did he call? Yeah, the knuckle puck. That's right. Yeah. That's exactly what he called it. But yeah, he threw the knuckler right at him, man. That was perfect. He gets the deflection. You're gonna have to do that, and then especially if you're on the power play, have JV again. If he's in the lineup, have JVR right within reach of the crease and to be banking them in. That's how Voracek has really got himself on the roll by being up front and he deflected a couple, and then all of a sudden, his stick was on fire.
Yep.
So yeah, I think Voracek's been one of the best Flyers so far this playoffs.
I would agree.
He looks like himself.
Been the best. Look, what better time than to be your best player while in the playoffs? That's Danny Briere stuff right there.
That was Danny Briere, yeah.
And in fact, do I see a reflection of 48 behind you? Is there something Briere in your room, Kev?
So there's no way you're seeing the reflection. Actually, the reflection you're seeing, that's actually incredible that you can see that. I have my Richards jersey.
I was saying it's either Richards or Briere. I see the 8 very clear.
I do have the Briere, our buddy Jeff from, man, I'm going to forget his name, the company name.
Brother Love?
Thank you.
Yes.
Who also made our logos.
Yeah.
Correct. I got a painting and he's got a Danny doing the celebration.
Oh, nice.
He also have Gritty terrifyingly on the wall.
I do.
So, that's gotta be a strange sight if you ever were in the room in the dark.
It's the best because it doesn't glow, but you could definitely tell it what it is.
Flyers got to win this series, so we see Lindblom, something we haven't even talked about yet. But you want to talk about injecting skill into the lineup. I mean, man, if you could see him out there, oh man, that would be insane.
I don't see any world where he plays this year.
I agree.
Listen, and I will tell you this: if for luck, as will hear me now, if they can pull this off and continue to win 11 more games, I won't say what that means, but I'm sure you can figure out the math. He will be the first one in line after G.
Yep.
In uniform, in the pad, everything.
We've had that conversation. Not saying, but we've waxed poetic about the thought, if you will.
That is the only chance we see him on the ice in Toronto or in Edmonton, in my opinion.
The kid's a superhero, no matter what.
he lost way too much weight to be able to gain it all back and to get back to the speed he's too much of a competitor to go out there on that ice unless he can add to the team. And at his weight and at his skill level right now, I don't see that it being a thing. AV said it was possible that he may play at some point in the tournament. Fletcher said the same thing. Lindblom himself has said, it's unlikely, but I'm here and I'm working, and my hope is that I hope that he would be able to help. He is with this team because it gives the guys in the locker room a boost. Mm-hmm. Him sitting next to them, him being on the ice at practice, him being in the locker room during, before, after games is a huge boost to the morale of this team. He is in the locker room for that exact reason. It's not what he said, but that's fine.
Yeah, I don't think you can really risk his health like it. I don't think it happens. I think that even if AV said something like that or said something like that in any way, shape, or form, I think it's like you said, like a morale boost. Like,
it's a motivational tool.
Now we can see if he might be able to get out there, but I feel like it was probably with that whole "but we'll take it day by day" type disclaimer if he said anything, because it's almost like Nolan Patrick. I understand that Nolan Patrick isn't with the team and that Lindblom is with the team. It's just when you're out for that long, it's tough to be inserted back into the lineup, especially in the heart of a playoff run.
It's the number one reason, and this is the thing I've seen recently, is they're not getting enough offense. You should add a guy like Frost, and Frost does this, and Frost does that. And I love Morgan Frost, but the man hasn't played hockey in 5 months.
I actually had to Google if Morgan Frost was on the active roster.
He is.
He is, but when I had heard that, I did a spit take and was like, that is the stupidest thought I think I've heard in a long time.
If it's a normal playoff situation, normal playoffs, the season ended, we go right into the playoffs, I get the thought. Because he does. He's an offensive-minded. And
I love Morgan Frost. Let me make that clear.
Right. I think Frost gives you an opportunity to really utilize JVR on the third line because he's a playmaker who goes and gets the puck and shoots it at the net, which then JVR gets to take his 3 foot, jam it into the net, and get 30 goals. I'm all for that. But the kid literally hasn't played a game in 5 months, and the last time he played a game was against significantly worse talent.
He's played 20 games this year, too.
Correct.
And it's been a while. He's only played 20 with the Flyers.
Exactly. Again, like I said, it's one of those things where you're not playing guys at this point. The guys who've been in the lineup are the guys who are going to be in the lineup. Without a major injury, you're not seeing anyone suit up the rest of the way who has not already suited up. I just don't. First off, who are you pulling out of the lineup outside of the guys you're rotating? And at that point, that means you're pulling both of those guys out. So I don't foresee a way that you're going to see Frost. I would love to see Oscar back in the lineup. I don't believe he gets to a level where he can actually be himself and be competitive to help this team. And he won't play. He himself wouldn't allow himself to be put in the lineup if he couldn't make a difference over the guy who was sitting.
It's absolutely the pipe dream, though. We're all rooting for it.
It's like, I want to play tomorrow.
Yeah, I just want to make that all clear. None of us are. But we're just when we're up here, trying to be analytical about things. Yeah. Oh, but again, he's a superhero. I don't put anything past him. He's already beaten all of the evils of the world, as far as I'm concerned. So I don't put anything past him. He is a goddamn incredible human being. So yeah, Grant or Thompson. I guess that's a question about who you would take off.
Oh, dude, listen. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Both of them to mean that he plays. There's 9 or 10 other guys I'm more than willing to sit. The question is, who does the coach sit, and whether or not it's actually flawed. Like I said, my thing with it is I think Fletcher and AB have done a really good job of talking it up as much as possible for the boys in the room. And I believe that's 100% every time you hear them talk about it. It's his smile and how much he brings to the team and the motivation and the whole way they played from January until the stoppage. They say it's Oscar. Watching him go through this and working for him and all of the things that they did, I'm all for this.
Yeah,
but he's in that bubble for that reason and that reason alone. If they get far enough where he feels comfortable, we'll see what happens. But that's why he's with the team and not Nolan. Because I think Nolan, it's making Nolan worse.
Yeah.
Being with the team makes him so much worse.
Yeah. Look, at this point, just all we can ask the Flyers is just play as long as possible to just give them a shot. You know,
Exactly.
you might as well play as long as possible just because what else? Why not? But yeah, not sure if you talked about it, but my comment on Facebook was that I've been annoyed with how we've been dumper chase or been or I guess cycling, but it seemed they were more themselves today. I actually almost felt like they at times needed to go to dump and chase. Maybe I was reading it a little wrong. At least throughout the Canadian series, it seemed like they would like get tripped up over the blue line, like trying to skate through the zone. But and he says, I know you guys, you have to dump it to get the line change, but it reminds you. So I will say to your point, Rob, like after the Flyers get the lead, they become dump, but they don't chase, and that's where I start to lose my shit a bit. But yeah, that's where it's like dump and chase would be ideal, but they just dump and send one guy to half-heartedly drag one, his stick with one arm or like this, and I lose it as a Flyers fan, and as anybody who senses. I mean, even if you saw Sharp being like, these guys need to take chances after in the intermissions on game one. I mean, he's absolutely right. I mean, at time, especially when they get like today, they get a big 3-0 lead, played great that first period, and then they came out in the second and in the third, it was just very like, where were the scoring chances? You got a goalie who only played a period in an exhibition game, and other than that, hadn't played in months. And you didn't get a scoring chance on him until overtime, and you put it in.
Yeah. I mean,
again, either you correct me if I'm wrong.
They treated it like the game was over at 3-0.
Yeah.
Like, no way they were going to get caught because no way Carter gives up 3 goals. And that was literally the way they played, and it was just shut it down. In the second period, it looked okay. But, it takes one penalty, one power play. They have too many good players on that Islanders team to give them that, to just not try and shoot on Greiss. It made no sense to me whatsoever, and it was very frustrating. And the dump and chase, that 100% looked like the Chicago series from 2010, and I agree with you. Because, they played scared in that third period. They were afraid to blow the lead. And they literally, the second they hit the red line, were dumping and changing lines. Guys would be on the ice for 12 seconds, and it immediately, 100%, playing not to lose. It was, and you just knew that was going to get you. And I'll tell you what, and I have what is probably a super unpopular opinion because of the way he played the rest of the game. Those second and third goals can't go in. That's horrendous from Hart.
Yeah.
Villier's shot is a joke. It can't get under your arm. And one-on-one with a guy like Pajot on a lucky bounce off a defenseman's foot, you got to save that. He didn't grab it and take a quick shot. He sat there, looked at you, and then kicked the corner on you. I love Hart. He's played out of his goddamn mind all playoffs. Those 2 goals can't go in. And he made plenty of saves that should have gone in.
Yeah.
So it balances out. But at the end of the day, when you have that guy, he's got to make one of those saves. It should never have gone that far.
I think it's just that's his age and lack of playoff experience that's happening. I think honestly that might be why those went in, but I think that those kind of moments will be fewer and farther between at this point. I agree with you though.
Quick turnaround tomorrow. Do you think? Flyers obviously again gonna ride it out with Carter Hart. Who do you think the Islanders play tomorrow? Do we see Geiss again? Both of you guys think?
I will tell you this: I'm not scared of either of their goalies. I don't really care who they play.
I really don't care.
I think they're both subpar who play on really, really good defensive teams. Where Greiss made 21 saves today. If someone can name any of them.
Again, that's why I'm like, I was looking at the shots and I'm like, when have the Flyers been in the offensive zone? When has there been offense?
I
I
could
was
not
so
name you one shot.
confused. I kept looking at the numbers and I'm like, look, I know I'm at, like, I was, so really the only period I got to, like, watch, and even that was 15 minutes in, was on, and then I could, like, sit, I was watching, I was eating. But the third period, the rest, I was watching, but I'm at work, so I'm making sure my boss can't see me, and, like, I gotta, like, move a box every now and then, and, like, when I yell, fuck yeah, and I'm like, and I'm like, I'm cursing in church, or in work, I'm cursing on Twitch, and it's like, whoa, and so, it's like, you got, it's a different sense, but hey, I will say, next year, whenever it is that we go back to normalcy or just in general, I need some daytime hockey because I love it. I love it.
Phenomenal. You get it once a year on Black Friday, and that's it.
And I've always said I need more of it. And now that we're getting NHL regular season matinee games, please, 1:00 afternoon games, like once a week in a national game, whatever. Just I need it. I
The
love it.
feel of that first round of exhibition with the round robin and the playing games. Oh, that was I've never experienced anything like that. It was so much hockey, and it was, you know what it reminded me of? It was the Olympics. When Olympic hockey is going, it's especially when they're in another country in Europe or in Asia, their games are all morning. It's like 8 a.m. till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's awesome. So it was.
I thought you were going to go with like March Madness feel.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was that was almost too much hockey for me, and that's saying something. Almost. I still did it every day, and just was useless at work. But
Joe just said something really funny in chat, but Tommy Hunter just got a 1-2-3 inning. That's a good joke. Now tell me what really happened. Did he do this too when he was done? What was the flex that we had? What was that?
Oh my god, he really did. That's crazy.
He said, "Oh my god, it really did." Yeah. Real quick, the Tommy Hunter thing. I know I'm supposed to hate it. His tone was so Anthony Pinto, like coming off to like my boss comes up to me, it's 110 like degree day, and he's like, "Why are you working so?" I'm sorry, it wasn't good enough. Oh man, I know I'm supposed to hate it, but I low key loved the Tommy Hunter thing just because his level of petty was too good.
I'm 100% with you on that.
As long as you don't take yourself too, like, it wasn't Sean Rodriguez, it wasn't that level of douche. It wasn't like insulting anybody.
Who was the other reliever who just straight up said, "I don't pitch on back-to-back days"? Who was that brilliant guy we had?
Yeah, that was last year too. That was
yeah. Oh, that was Nishek, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, my Patty Niche.
Nishek.
That guy I wanted to punch when he said that.
The niche. Yeah. Well, we are coming up. We're over the hour mark now, so we're in the final thoughts, and you can already feel the slow slipping into its normal nonsense. So again, chat, you've been awesome. We've seen some new names. Beardy, thanks for the follow. I saw right before the show that you gave us a follow, and we had another new follow during the show. So I think I meant to put this in chat, but I do think the new thing is going to be on non-game days, or if I'm not prompted to do push-ups. The new thing will be for every 5 new followers, I'll do 5, and for every sub, I'll do 5. And I'll make sure chat knows that next week, and that'll be the new Twitch thing. But I know they lost a couple games in the push-ups. I felt shattered, so I haven't been as committed. Keith, how do we work the push-ups going forward now that, they won today and I didn't do them. I did 10, but the video didn't upload. I did it before the game. Game 1, and they lost, but they still haven't lost when I did 15, so I'm wondering if that means I gotta up the reps.
I think you gotta do 15.
But I did none today, and they won, so can't I just go with that?
I think we need the workout, so I think you need to do 15.
Yeah, especially because I just got asked to play on a softball team today,
Oh,
And,
you need the muscles to
and
get
I need
that.
to get them. Yeah, I need to get the rakes going. So I might
Say, you know,
I might do it. I might do it for my own personal accord for
Ben
once. So.
Revere still has more home runs than you.
Not for long, baby. Not for long. Give me my couple weeks to get that swing back. No more push-ups. All right, Joe. I like it. That's you're speaking my language. But yeah. Waiting for Hunter to pull Papelbon with the crash grub. Hey, as long as he doesn't choke Bryce, I don't care what Papelbon he does.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
funny because how quickly the times have changed. I once said that Jonathan Papelbon's greatest moment as a Philadelphia Philly was being a national and choking Bryce Harper. And now it's just one more reason to hate Jonathan Papelbon because Bryce is our boy.
I think I'm the outlier with that. I think I was the only person in Philadelphia who loved Paps.
I
So.
I did. I was a fan of the signing. Let's not forget he does lead this franchise in saves as for whatever
I
you
was
may
gonna go
think.
there.
But hey, it didn't work. I guess I don't
It
know
was
that.
fine. The team in front of him sucked.
Yeah, it wasn't.
only
It was.
close
It
winning.
wasn't the right signing for that team, but
Correct.
it wasn't that it wasn't his fault. But oh, the money. He makes too much money. And it's like, all right, well, Reese Hoskins doesn't make any money, and he still sucks. So how does that work out for you?
Right.
Sometimes it's not really about the money, and it's just about the player. But hey, it is what it is. Gotta love Philly sometimes. Nobody can pull a Paps. Oh, that's Keith saying it. Keith's talking in chat. I love it.
I talk to
I've
Chad a
seen
lot.
no, I've seen you. I've gotten good at not reading yours, like, because I know it's just like we'll have our side interactions with chat every now and then, just so like to keep the show flowing. We'll let chat know we see them, but continue.
Especially
on.
in 3-man team mode, it's I like engaging the chat one on one in there,
Right.
and that it allows us to not talk over each other.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, perfect. But yeah, with that in mind, again, we're on the final thoughts. We're in a 2-minute warning. If you have anything, whether it be on topic or off topic, now's the time to bring it. Keith and Kev. Keith, let's start with anything you missed today, because I don't know.
I mean, no, I think we hit a little bit of everything up. I'm just excited. Tomorrow we get game 3, and there's been a lot going on. But hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. I really just appreciate it, and how active everyone's been in chat.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, the how about Milbury? Yeah, look, I don't want to get into why he got canned because it's a serious topic and we like to have fun here. But man, for whatever reason, thank God he finally did. It's just unfortunate under the circumstances. I was actually saying, look, I actually with Jonesy in as the play-by-play and with Boosh, as like the inside. I like that broadcast more than our own, and that's not like a slight to like Jim Jackson or anything, but I just think like that's probably the best national broadcast team we've had, and they're really good. What's that?
Forsland, who does the play-by-play,
Yeah,
he's got a great cadence for hockey.
Yeah, really good. And then again, him and Jonesy is the color analyst right on top of him. Like they do such a good job as the back and forth, and then they just slide Boosh right in as that third man who can add some quips, but also some really good in-game commentary. I think they're spot on. It's probably the best national team we've seen in a while. It doesn't help that our hometown bias gets in a little hard too, but I love it.
But Jonesy and Boosh kill the Flyers.
Yeah, and again, but I like that as a Flyers
Right,
fan.
yeah,
Like,
I love it.
I'm not afraid of hearing bad things about my team. Usually, I say much worse. So like I don't mind. In fact, that's partially sometimes why I get on like a JJ a little, like Merrill Reese, like or Coatsy, like especially radio guys. I really don't like because radio you can't see it, so you are all encompassing on their opinion, and like imagine being a blind person and having to rely on Coatsy. That's not good. Like I feel bad for
Being blind.
You know, so no, I mean, as weird as this, these are things that I think about, or because like I think about those people who only can watch or not watch, only can take in hockey through that way, and it's like, man, if you're listening and you're only getting Merrill's side of things, like you think the Eagles are impeccable and like a perfect, and things like that.
we
Hey,
I had a communications class in college, and we had a guy who was like, "Oh, I put in a tape to be in the new Eagles something," and he specifically was like, "Oh, it's a long touchdown," and I stopped counting the yardage that every other announcer does. He's like, "Because I didn't want to do that cliche," and he was like, "Oh, did everyone think this was good?" Now he's the teacher, so everyone's like, "Oh, it was great." And I just shook my head, and he caught me, and he was just like, "What's your problem with it?" And I was like, "You have no cadence." I said, "There's a rhythm to this that if someone was listening to you, would go, 'Did the person fall?'" Like
Hey Rube, are you listening, Ruben Amaro? Hey
it's,
Rube.
it's
Because not only is your opinion bad, but you're boring while you're giving it, Rube.
bad. But I was like, no, and that was the thing is that the guys, especially on the national record. Now, me, I'll take Doc Emmerich over anybody any day. There's no one. I I actually can't wait to turn on the game as soon as we get off here, just so I can listen to Doc for a few hours because
I
his
do like Doc a lot.
his excitement over everything is the best.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. We got from Robin chat. My thought, I said we would make a run this year, but Boston always scared me. But we are. We're in a great run for the Cup and for the next 5 years, I would say. Yeah, that's what this team's got the feeling of, and because of that, it's why I think they can win a Stanley Cup. And I'm not saying this as a homer. It's because the last two times I've felt this way about a team, and I'm not saying this to hype anything up, and this is sort of a good note to end on too. The last two times that I have felt the way I do about this Flyers team, it was that, oh man, this team's really good. If they don't make it this year, it's going to be next year. And that's why I think they're going to do it this year. Because sometimes that's what you need is that sneakiness, is that they don't know they're that good yet. And that's, I hate to do this, but that's partially why the Sixers keep failing, is because they keep being told that they are already that good. Now, you flip to the Flyers, and again, how did I feel about the Phillies in '08? Was like, man, in Phillies, I was a little more naive. I really did believe they were going to win that, but I also was like, this team's not their best yet. And they really weren't. While they won in '08, they got better in '09, 2010. They just didn't win it. So with this Flyers team, it's why I'm as excited as I am. And, I'm not really containing it on the airways like I did for the Eagles. I was kind of afraid to say that the Eagles could win to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that the Flyers are going to win, but it's how I feel about this team is how I felt about those teams that have won championships. So let's go. Gary Thorne and Blow Komet were phenomenal together. That's a good point. Good point.
Yes. Yes, they were.
So yeah, with that though, but let's hope for a special run like the Blues last year. Yeah. And I mean, hey, this team, the Blues were the Blues a 1 seed? They like snuck in, right?
They were dead last in the league at the midway point, and then when they got in, I want to say they got up to the first wild card, but I don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
They made it, and they made it by a decent margin, but they were barely in as far as seeding wise.
Yeah, so this team, I mean, again, everything's different now. This team's a 1 seed. But yeah, either way, let's go. At the end game is the Cup, and that's what the Blues did, and that's what I want. So yeah, absolutely, guys. Any final thoughts tonight?
That's it.
When Claude Giroux plays the way he played today, the Flyers are unbeatable.
Yeah. Does Giroux does he get on the board maybe even tomorrow?
I don't really care if he ever scores again because he set up 3 of the 4 goals today, and that's when he's at his best. If he starts scoring on top of that, it's just an added bonus. But
it's very, and again, I hate drawing parallels to the Sixers right now because of how low I am on them. But Claude Giroux is to the Flyers, like his hate is very much similar to Ben Simmons. Although I will say this, Claude Giroux is already up there, and Ben Simmons, like Claude Giroux has reached his potential. Ben Simmons still has, so I don't want to get, but as far as like, I think the the casual fan looks for one thing: home runs, scores, points, and guys like Giroux. He's so sound defending. He sets plays up, and he's so different than a lot of your other top tier or superstar NHL players. So that uh, yeah. As far as Giroux goes, like you said, just we saw we had like a mini argument. It was if you will, but we were like on Twitter today. It was like you said Giroux was the best. I said Hayes, and I was like, well, I guess I value goal scoring a little more. But either way, they had.
And my thing is, and I think it kind of plays into what you just said, which is the easy answer to me is Hayes and Hart, because scored goals, stop.
Yeah, Myers even too. He scored the winner, right?
And Myers scores the game winner. But G is on the ice when Hayes scores because they trusted him to win that defensive faceoff against their top center. He wins it. He then makes the play with Konecny to let the puck go through and fake that defender out, which gives Hayes the space to score. Then he springs Coots on the breakaway, and then he does everything in overtime except literally push Couturier's stick into the net with the puck. And when it goes out to the point, it's G directly in front of the goalie. He was far and away the best player on the ice, in my opinion, today. And I don't think it was relatively close. And if he had scored, great. But I think at the end of the day, everything else he had, the amount of times he had to play with Nate Thompson today, who's on the team because he wins faceoffs, apparently, and was taking faceoffs for him in the defensive zone because they still didn't trust him to do that. But again, we'll let that go by. He did everything. He was the only one playing two-way in the third period. Everybody else was playing to the red line and dumping it. And then G was running in to the offensive zone like an idiot. Unfortunately with him, and I just saw the comment here about the scrappiness, he's old. I mean, the whole reason we put him on the wing was to stop it, was to stop him from throwing hits, from stop him from having to be the first man back. You need to preserve this because if you want to be a team who can contend for the next 5 years, and I think we all do, you need Claude Giroux, and he's only getting older. And the problem with this, comparing it to the 07 Phillies as I saw, the 08 Phillies, and blah, 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 is this team's core is a hell of a lot older than those teams' cores were. So you need to win now. You need to win in the next 2 years. And they have enough good players to replenish after that. They do not have Claude Giroux behind him. They have Coots, who's been there and worked with G. You do not have another superstar on this team. Mm-hmm. And do not forget, that is what Claude Giroux has been throughout his prime, a superstar in this city. Oh, and because of the Flyers being the ugly stepsister at times, it's been skipped over. And that's fine because hockey's been a niche sport for as long as I can remember. And the bigger that clique grows, the better. So
yeah, absolutely. And runs like this makes it all the more. Correct. And by all, I'm always like, you want to, not right now, I'm not inviting anyone over, but you want to watch hockey with me? Come on over. Usually it's the door's open, but again, right now, look, for me, especially living with my grandfather, super safe, which is why everything's been virtual, and will be for the foreseeable future. Which, by the way, real quick, this was it's very rare that we get the 3-man shows going because of everything going on. It was the first time that we had done things in this way, through the programs we use today. So yeah, shout out to both of you guys real quick for sticking through it. Hopefully everything worked out on chat's end. We didn't get any complaints today. But yeah, I love these little challenges that we're faced with. As unfortunate the circumstance is, it's look, with the limited amount of space in my room, it would be hard to do a 3-man show. So it's good that we know that we have this under our belt nowadays. Right. Workman getting worked at.